Hey, what's up, Tacties? Welcome back. We're going to be going over a little 2 a.m. door banging action. We're going to get straight into it and see what we got going on for my mans here.
It's 2 in the morning, somebody's bumping on the door.
Better
Your
not
family's
be.
inside asleep, and you have 30 seconds to make a split-second decision.
Locked, cocked, ready to rock.
Your family's life. Are you ready?
Absolutely. Oh, this is recent. Oh, this is fresh off the press. I'm telling you right now, you come to my door like this, you're getting rocked, socked, and dropped. I'm not even messing around with you. Look at that stud. Now, I'm gonna tell you right now, I got a freaking strobe light that I got on my gas slinger right now. You coming up to me and I'm freaking blinding you.
Statistically, most people are not ready, and that's why today I'm going to go over a couple different things that I would do. I want to address a few different points on.
First things first, all right? If you're going to be carrying a firearm to any freaking capacity, you need to train with it, especially close quarters, all right? We're talking about home defense right now. So if you're going to carry around a firearm, you're going to draw one, you're going to have one in your house or anything like that, you absolutely need to know how to handle it. You need to know what you're going to be doing with it whenever you are handling it, where you're going to point it. Is there anybody that's going to get caught in the crossfire? If you shoot your freaking house, is it going to go to the other side? Is it going to go through any walls and kill anybody who's just sleeping in their bed or anything like that? You need to know these things. You need to know how many rounds you have in there. You need to know how the safety operates. If you have any additional freaking tactile components on there, you need to know how they operate and how they function. You need to know what kind of rounds are legal that you're using. You need to know a lot of these different things that a lot of people just don't freaking know because they think they're cool guys. I wish I had one of my slingers around right now. We'd be a freaking cool guy right now, but he's probably going to cover a lot of this because he's a defense strategist group member. So let's get into it with him.
Tactics and procedures you can keep your family safe with. So first of all, somebody's bumping on the door in the middle of the night and they're a total stranger.
I'm not answering.
That is not the time to open the door.
I'm creeping.
Even if you feel like you are getting, cries for
DEF CON.
help, somebody is pleading with you.
I don't care.
Help. The last
knock
thing
on
you
somebody
want to
else's
do is open
door.
this door and let some stranger into your house, no matter how sensitive you might feel. You can call the police for them. You can call.
At this point, if somebody's beating on my door or anything like that, for one, all of my curtains are blacked out. Everything is completely locked down. I have a security system that's going to tell me if any windows are broken, if any doors are open or anything like that. What that's going to do is it's going to notify me inside of the house. It's going to make a really loud bing, 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 bing noise. And then secondly, it's going to alert law enforcement or whatever. But by the time that even happens, when somebody's knocking on my door, after you get through the 4 locks that are through there and all of the things that I have sitting in front of the door that are going to drop whenever you do that, because I have kids and stuff like that. Not booby traps, it's just kid traps, you know what I mean? I am going to be looking around the house and I'm going to be looking at all of the windows, looking at every possible entry point to see if there are other people possibly trying to get my attention to the front door. Maybe they're coming in the side entry, the back, anything like that. Now, where I live, it's a little bit different. I've got a 2-story house, so I've got stairs. So I'm probably going to take a little peeksies from the top side first, see if I see anything like that, any movement, any commotion or anything like that. So know your area of operation, know your house, train in your house, make sure that you're doing drills, run dry fire drills, check your freaking weapon, make sure that there's no ammunition when you're doing these things, practice mag changes, practice stress situations, run your family through them, do all of the things. If they are up to it, and if they're not up to it, at least train yourself and know what you're doing, why you're doing it, where to put your family.
Help for them, but I want to address the person and try to de-escalate before I actually open the door. But let's first talk about where I want to position myself. When I have a doorway, most home doorways are doors that come inside into the house. That's why when somebody's kicking a door open,
most do.
Unless you have a security gate, the kicking of the door open is super easy because the door goes in.
All right, a couple things you can do with this. They actually have locks that you can put in certain parts of your door that are going to make it a lot harder to kick in. All right, some of these things take like 5,000 pounds of force and they're not easy to get through. So arm your house correctly.
And when the door goes in, this is something you're not able to really defend as well as if it were an outward door. First, I always recommend a security gated door because they're not only outward pulls, but trying to kick them open is nearly impossible. It's really hard and you need a lot of tools. But this is what we have.
At the very bare minimum, you need to replace the screws that you have in your door to make them lengthy. You want that long, girthy action. You don't want it to be easy to kick through. If you got little screws in there, it's going to frickin' blow right through there. If Joe Blow comes through with this 12-pound boot and all that fatness he's got, and he's just like, yeah.
We've got a wooden door. When we're clearing rooms off
Oh, squeaky, WD-40, bud.
we say something called attack the crack. And that's what I want to apply to my home defense right now.
Love getting a good crack attack.
If we stand here in front of the door, not only are we in front of the door to get, you know, the door blown open into our face.
Not a good place to be.
But we also have to worry about this door getting...
Watch some Delta videos. Okay, be a Power Ranger. Everybody knows this. That's basic 101. Watch the YouTubes. Learn what to do is use.
Shot through. If somebody was armed and decided that they were going to start shooting, they're most likely going to shoot through this door, not the walls.
Okay, so this is a very good point. You need to pay attention to these kind of things. Somebody goes shooting through the door. Now, if somebody's shooting through your door, for one, you might have an enemy or two. Now, I remember one time I lived in South Carolina. I had my son inside of the house, and somebody found out that I had some high valuable items. They were trying to kick in my door, and they were trying to come in. So at the time, I told them, I yelled through the door after they kicked it a few times, said, hey, you come through this door, I'm blowing your face off with a shotgun. So they continued to try to break it down a couple times. Now, fortunately for me, I actually had my drill sitting by, and I drilled the door shut as they were trying to kick it. But when I did it, I approached it from the side angle, and I just, and I zipped the whole door shut. I'm telling you right now, because I had my little 2-year-old son in there, and I was not trying to take on that attention. But I was not standing in front of the door. It was an apartment complex, and I had coverage right where I was at on the right side of the door. So what I did was I came in at an angle. I had my son put up. I had him in the other room. I told him to stay where he was at, and he knew how to stay there. And then I also put him somewhere where he couldn't come over even if he wanted to. But he was very calm, very cool, very collect. And that was a pretty sketchy moment. They never got in. They tried to. They were trying to kick the crap out of that door. Fortunately for me, I have prepared for a couple of these things, and I happen to do a little bit of home decorating.
Because they feel you're on the other side of it. The last place I want to be is right here in front of the door. Some of the videos I've seen recently on the internet,
you don't want to get kicked and knocked down.
Maybe from this side of the door. This side of the door might feel a little bit safer because when that door gets kicked open, or if it were to get kicked,
I'm not going to be standing behind that door. Maybe behind the next door if you want to, but this is a really weird position to be in. I hope that he's going in a different direction, because that's personally not where I want to be. And to be quite honest, I would rather, it looks like there's a couple other vantage points in this house that you could get a little peek-see on what's going on. And you should have some curtains. When the end of the day happens, your curtains all get closed. When the beginning of the day happens, you open your curtains. You know what I'm saying?
To open, I would be between, the door would be between me and the perpetrator, which might feel like a safe thing. The problem is I can't defend this.
No.
I can't defend this. So where I'm defending from actually is this crack here.
Now, I agree with this, but you need to watch your back. Look at that window, okay? That's a big field of view that you don't know what is out there to the left or to the right, unless you have some cameras, security system you can pull up quick or something like that. So you need to absolutely clear that window first, and you might even need to crawl under to get to the door. And let's see where he goes with this. There's a lot of different ways you can play this.
And the crack is wherever the door opens the most, the soonest point which I can see somebody. This is my crack. Now, if you're watching this, it's probably because you own a gun. Otherwise, you're probably not interested in this video. So, as gun owners, we are going to have our gun at the crack. We're attacking the crack. And where are we attacking? We're attacking at the most probable level of where we think somebody's going to be. So, probably not going to be aiming at 6 feet tall. Probably not going to be aiming at 2 feet tall.
Nah.
I'm going to be aiming
center mass maybe a little bit lower.
5'8" to 5'9" person. If that's their face right here, I'm going to be aiming somewhere in the chest and belly level where I can see low.
Because that's just a safe target. Most people that you're going to have here, like if they're high or low, you're going to have a nice trajectory.
I'm going to be holding here. So if I was late to the game and I came out of my bedroom and I'm not sure where they are in the house, and then I come around the corner and
You need to know your house like the back freckle on your left ball.
Then see them, they've already come into my living room, or that first initial bite into the house. Really the last thing I want to do is continue pushing into an open room, give them the equal advantage, like a 50-50 advantage. What I want to
I know how to do some Spider-Man operations here, all right? When you start coming out like a spider monkey and you know how to do a couple combat rolls and stuff like that, And I'm not talking in jokes. I'm talking like if you know how to move your body, you know how to get down in a tactical position, you can actually have a little bit of a surprise elemental. You know what I'm saying? A little elemental surprise here.
What I use is the corners, the walls, the framing of the house as my cover and concealment.
Yeah, they could take some rounds.
There's a lot of debate on is the threshold of a door or the walls cover or concealment. I'll tell you right now, statistically, they are both. They are both, and we've proven it in videos. These rounds, they do go through walls. They also get deflected off of walls, and they also are stopped by walls. It just depends on the material.
Know your freaking house. Do a little bit of research. Do a little bit of reconnaissance inside of your home. Figure out ahead of time. That way you're not thinking about it in the moment. You know, if you practice and you train, then whenever you get in these situations, in these moments, it's muscle memory.
But it is better than nothing. It's better than me standing in this funnel of bullets. It's better than me standing.
Yeah, you better have a freaking SWAT shield if you're doing something like that.
Face them. Of course,
punch in.
I had to. Maybe my kids are on the other side. Maybe there's something.
Yeah, think about that crossfire. You got to think about those things.
You know, the layout of your house is a big determining factor.
And this is some of the things I meant with like the combat roles or the tactical slides or something like that. Because if your kids are on the other side and you know you see one perpetrator, you come in, you do a slide to the ground, you look up and boom, and you shoot up to the upside or something like that, and you can get the slide. Now you're not worried about shooting anybody in the back or anything like that. But you know, like I said, a lot of people got to be in shape for that. You got to train for that, and it's not normal day stuff. I'm an infantry dude, so we did a lot of silly drills that I think that were actually valuable. We did a lot of stuff, full combat load, slick, all kinds of things, and long term they actually prepared me for the civilian life way better. If something were to happen here, I am way more prepared than the average Joe.
But for as we are right now,
you hear that, Jody? You hear that?
Mess
around if you want to, Joe.
So I come back and I defend from this threshold here.
Ooh,
now this
cinematic.
becomes my new front door, and whatever they're doing in there,
boom, punch in.
That's okay, because I'm here to protect life, limb, eyesight. I'm protecting my family.
Yeah.
Not my things.
To the death.
My things. I'm telling them.
Nobody
to get
cares
out of
about
the
the
house,
things. Materialistic things can be replaced.
If I have to shoot, I shoot, of course. The laws that you have to deal with in your state, in your area, your country,
know them well.
That's on you to figure out. But what I'm telling you,
just pay really close attention to that. You need to make sure that the laws that you're adhering to, that you know what you're doing, but at the same time, just know your rights. Know your rights, all right, like that, and know what rounds that you're legally able to use, because you don't want to get hemmed up using the wrong rounds or something like that.
Right now is your family, your life is more important than anything. So this is how you defend it. I come around the corner and now I'm looking, okay, I find them. Now I start talking to them from the safety of here. But if I start losing and I start retreating, that allows them to come towards me, and now I'm giving
you better have a plan.
Real estate. I'm retreating now to
you better
the next
be ready for some close combat.
Threshold. I don't want to lose that battle, so I really want to try to
You definitely don't want to lose your foothold and your footing, because that's really easy to fumble, and now the ground is on the fight. Now you're fumbling around with a gun or two.
Everything I can. If I can drive
or three or four.
out of the front door, then I'm going to move to the next. I see them walk out the front door. Now I drive to the next threshold, the front door. Now they're back out of the house again. If you take real
scan your
estate,
sectors,
you own it, you hold it. You try not to retreat that real estate unless you absolutely have to. So when you're standing still at the door and you're discussing with the person, make sure we're de-escalating the situation. We're not.
Now, another thing that you could do, I'm just sitting here thinking, depending on the moment, depending on what happens, if you do retreat, you could do a sidestep, and you could, do a quick fall back and then step back in and step back over into the zone. And that might throw them off. If they're moving quickly, maybe they're just your average person coming in to do like a burglary or something like that. They might have put their weapon down or something. It all depends. How well can you read the situation? Can you see them? Do they look tactical? Do they look like thugs? What are you working with here? But the element of surprise often it's the same thing in basketball. Somebody gets juked out or something like that, do a little bit of like movement or something like that. But, like I said, muscle memory comes with the training and the territory. Everybody has a different level and a different skill set that they are operating at.
Accusing them of anything and making them irate, because if it is a genuine emergency, you don't want to dismiss that. You might need to help your neighbor, and of course, you have to use your
focus on yourself and your family first.
Gut feeling, but you don't know them. It's 2 in the morning. What the heck is going on? Remind them that they are safe. They're on your property and you have eyes on. You're able to react if somebody were coming to the property. Listen to the words they're saying, not just the panic that's in their voice.
Adrenaline.
And tell
Watch
them
it.
911's on the way. Call the police for them. You don't necessarily have to go out.
Now, here's the thing, too. If you have the opportunity and the availability, the first thing you should be doing is calling in for backup, all right? Especially if somebody's breaking into your home or something like that. We all have our phones with us 9 times out of 10. So if you don't, we have watches, we have things like that. Get them on the phone. Hey, somebody's breaking into my house. This is my address. I'm going to approach the threat. And then if they try to talk you out or do anything, find a safe room or anything, you're going to have to make that judgment call for yourself. But calling for backup, getting somebody on the line, getting them on the way is going to help mitigate the risk long term.
To help them, calling 911
Unless you're G.I.
is
Joe.
bringing help to them without risking your own life. So that is something you can absolutely do. A second thing you might want to be thinking is waking your family up and getting them ready. At a minimum, you know, your spouse, significant other, somebody who's in the house, telling them to call 911, telling them to get ready. Maybe even they have a firearm that they want to get ready.
This is where battle drills come in. You guys can plan for this. You guys can have an evacuation plan. You can have a plan of action here, okay? You can run an SOP, and you can have a set of procedure operations that you follow.
Letting people in the house know, so that way you're not the only one with all of the information. That's a great tip as well. We're still at the door and they're beating it down. There's a video circulating recently online of a really aggressive guy, and he's going psycho, and it's apparent from the moment you're not opening this door. This person wants trouble. He wants to harm the people inside. So in that kind of situation, even your gut feelings telling you no, and explicit words are telling you not to open this door. What do? Well,
dude, if you're thinking about opening any door with anybody knocking at this time of the hour, you need to do a little bit more investing. Like, do not do that. We do not live in a day and age where you should be opening the freaking door for anybody unless you know that they're coming. And even if you do, that's an odd time to be opening the door. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of things happen after midnight that are really eerie and that you might want to be mindful of, all right? You got to think, if you're a leader of your household or you're a member of your household, the other people inside of it are your responsibility to keep safe.
Standing at that door is probably the best thing you want to be doing, because you need to barricade that door. One tip for barricading a door: if I put my body in front of the door like this,
putting yourself at harm's way too,
puts more weight onto the door, and it allows this not to be breached so easily.
Unless they're 3 times your size.
My body is here, and if they have some kind of a weapon, a ram, a gun, even an axe or something, hypotheticals all
so many,
over. This is the last place I want to be. So another way of doing
imagine standing there and an axe comes through and splits you in the dome.
Doing is just placing my foot as the stopper. Placing the foot as the stopper here, or the foot as the stopper.
That's great and all, dude. Get you a freaking doorstop. You know what I'm saying? Like, even this, man, even this is a risky move. I mean, I get barricading the door. I would almost rather be posted up, wait for them to come in, and then stack on them. You know what I'm saying? Just be in a better position. But know your house, know your situation, your surroundings. But I would almost rather have a doorstop that I put at my door before I go to bed every night. That way they have to fight that, and it gives me time to think and react. But that's just me. You also need to think about, if there's a fire or anything like that, you need to have an exit ramp, and you need to make sure, I don't think this is considered booby trapping, so don't mark my words on this, but, at the same time, it's kind of your home, so if there's no tripwires or anything like that, putting a doorstop, make sure you know your local laws and things like that. But I don't necessarily think I'd be stacking up on the door like this. That's just me, though. I think I would rather be in a different position. Like I said, that window's back there too. If somebody was looking in with the flashlight or something, you're putting yourself at an exposure risk.
Upper here. And what that's doing is helping so that that door can't come quite as easy. All right, quite as easy. Now, it's never going to be the best, and if somebody's breaching from up high, the leverage is probably still going to open that door.
He's very aware of that, obviously.
Fight. So, how are we ready for a fight? Well, we came to play. So,
came to dance, baby.
I'm maintaining my discipline of the door. I want to stay out of that funnel. I'm now placing my foot to try to.
This dude's making me hungry. I want to get some snacks and popcorn or something. I'll tell you right now.
Alternatively, if I think that door's giving way, or I just don't care anymore about defending the door itself, I'm going to step back and give myself more space.
Yeah.
So when the intruder comes in, I have a little.
Again, I know that he's just talking about some basic stuff here, but look at that window and look at how much freaking opening there is to view inside of this. Like, if there's a team that's coming in, or there's a squad, or, you know, this is a gang or anything like that that has multiple people, then you're exposing yourself to the max right here. I'd flip that table over or something like that, take a little bit of coverage there. But even then, you're putting yourself in a really vulnerable position. There's better ways to stack. I know he's just talking about basic stuff, so obviously I'm not knocking him or anything like that. He's just going over. I'm just voicing my opinion and my thoughts on it. I was trained to scan my sectors and look, you know, 5, 25, 50, 100, 200, so on, so on. But inside of a house, it's a lot different. But you're immediately scanning. I can't go into a room or anything without scanning every entry point, every exit, looking at vantage points, looking at people, seeing if they're printing, seeing if they're carrying anything, seeing if there's any threats or anything like that. So naturally, I'm looking at all vantage points.
A little bit more time to make a decision.
And I'm sure he is too. He's talking basics, guys.
I can defend the door a little bit easier, but if they're armed, this is a really scary place to be because I don't have enough time to make a great decision. So
I love that he's going over this and giving those options.
If I decide not to, they're already going to be on me. So if you decide to be here, you have to know that if they come in and they breach this door, that you're going to be shooting. Or not shooting if you don't have a gun, but you have to be ready to make that snap.
You better have some kind of weapon, a knife or something.
Another way of doing it is backing up completely.
And then also, you know, stabbing somebody is a very, very, very different form of self-defense. If you've never stabbed anybody, it's completely different than shooting a gun and firing a gun at somebody. So just take that in mind. You know, there's different sounds, there's different feelings that come with it. It's close and personal, and it's just an entirely different thing. So, you know, there are dummies that you can train on. There are things that you can train to at least give you that hand-eye coordination and that muscle memory. But just know that the different weapons that you use have a different outcome and they have a different approach.
Getting out of the way, knowing that when they come in, you're going to be ready. It'll buy you a little bit more time. The problem with this also is that, you know, you're giving them access into the house.
Right.
My family's inside. I don't necessarily want to do it. So I'm barricading this door right here. Hyper aggressive, standing. As soon as this thing breaches,
And like I said, man, there's just a lot of things that you can do in advance to barricade this door to where you don't even have to ever get that close. Like, a little bit of effort goes a long way in these situations, and you should plan ahead of time. I always think that my house is going to get broken into, and every single night I do the same set of things every single night. I will get up out of bed if I think that I forgot something and go and double or triple check my area of operation. That's just what it is, and I have things set up in a very personal, securing way for myself and my family. I'm very comfortable if somebody were to come through the house. I know exactly how I'm going to act, and I know exactly what they're going to get as soon as they come into my field of view.
I'm able to confront whatever's coming. My family's safe in the back, and I make the judgment call in my mind ahead of time. It's not pre-planning. It's making your decision-making binary. I decide the moment somebody, knowing I'm armed, knowing I've been deconflicting, knowing I've been talking to them the entire time, and if they break this door down, I'm armed and I may shoot.
And that's a really big thing, to be talking and trying to de-escalate, but it also depends on the type of door that you have, and it depends on the type of person that's trying to come through it, and if you even want to give them that. I can't promise you that if you come into my house that I'm not going to go stealthy little ninja and look for any availability to absolutely neutralize you. That's 100% the first thing on my mind. If you come through that door or you get into my house, there's no talking anything about that. If you come beating on my door at 2 in the morning, there's likely not going to be any talking. That's just what it is, man.
Still break that threshold. That's my line to fire.
You see that bird fly up in that thing? It was like a little Tweety bird. Okay, military, love it.
What we were allowed to and not allowed to do.
Yeah, rules of engagement.
Shoot situations. For you at home, that's your state and local laws. You guys have to figure that out. What is okay? Now, everyone has the inherent right to self-defense, so rather than focusing so deeply on what is legal, illegal, focus on what is morally right. Focus on what you have to do. Rather than saying phrases like, I'm allowed to shoot somebody because they're on my property. I always go back to,
Yeah.
do I have to shoot somebody
What's your
because they're on my
wordplay?
property? Well, in this exact example, somebody beating down the door in the middle of the night, I'm telling them I'm armed, I'm telling them don't come in, leave us alone, go home, etc. Police are on their way. That person still comes through that door. I draw that binary line. If they cross this line, it's game time and I'm going to work. So that's something you have to figure out with you and your family. You have to decide ahead of time, because the last thing you want to do is make that decision on the fly and you've never thought about it once.
See, and like he said, he's military, so he has already thought about these things. He has been trained, he's been programmed, if you will. He has done so many repetitions that a lot of these things, like this is very basic that he's going into, and he's just covering the basic standard here. There's a lot of things, if you were to actually have a conversation with him and you have some tactical background or anything like that, you're going to open up a whole nother can of whoop butt. Little whoopage, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's going to happen. And I'm not going to be cussing on this channel too much and stuff like that, man. I care about monetizing. I care about being able to talk to a younger crowd and things like that. So I'm going to be trying to watch all those things. And if I do, I'll probably bleep it out and stuff like that. I just don't have any interest in promoting that. I'm trying to be educational, informative, give my opinion, give my thought process here. And I want to be able to be a good influence.
You got to really think about these things and train them as well. And then one of the last things I want to talk about is,
oh, look at that deer back there, baby. That deer, little antler. Oh, look at the antlers.
Person out of the equation, they decide to leave. Remember, the banging keeps going and the conflict is here.
I think I'm gonna grow my hair out. I don't know. What y'all think?
The person gives up. They decide they want to leave. Well, are they leaving? And that's something why I want to keep my eyes on for as long as possible. For me in my training, while I am very capable of walking outside and following this person,
don't do that.
And keeping eyes on, that's the last thing I want to do, because remember, your ROEs, you are defending yourself and your family. The moment you
family,
start
most
following
importantly,
that person, that's no longer
yourself
defending. Now
has to be taken care of.
A situation. You're potentially provoking more of an incident. So that's the last thing you want to do, is leave the house.
Dude, you do not want to be provocative in this kind of situation by any means. I just watched a video where a dude was getting robbed and getting ripped off, and he ended up chasing this dude down and like taking his bag, taking his phone, trying to take all the stuff off of him, and then the dude ended up turning around, putting 8 inside of him. The dude's no longer here with us, dropped him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to understand the situation that you're in, de-escalate it, let the other professionals do that. You don't need to go and instigate things. You need to keep yourself and your family safe. Your family is your top priority, but if you're not safe, then you can't take care of your family, you understand?
But making sure you're calling 911, I see that person leave, they go left.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I got these puppies with me everywhere I go. I love these things, my little AirPods, you know what I'm saying? Pick you up a set or whatever, but if something goes down, something pops off, I'm putting my AirPod in first thing. It's sitting right next to my bed, things like that. I can talk to the homie, I can be like, yo, Surrey, make this call for me or do whatever. So I can go hands-free, go full tactical, and then still have comms, you know what I'm saying? Or I can call somebody in the house or anything like that. Now, I will say, we are a little bit prepared. My household, we have doors locked. We keep the doors locked. We got ways of communicating, and that way nobody, if they do get the upper hand and they come through, you're going to have to be jiggling that door. You're going to have to try to kick that door in or something like that. That way, if I don't get the upper hand, which, like I said, very highly unlikely whenever you're prepared with the way that I've prepared the house.
Right, I want to follow.
I'm paranoid, man.
With my eyes around the house.
Trust
in that
nobody.
Direction. So I don't want to assume that they are leaving. I want to assume that they're trying to flank me. They're trying to go around.
Absolutely.
I need to protect my family. So, person walks out to the street and then they go left. Well, I'm actually following.
Yep.
Inside my house, and I'm going out to the window or the door, and I'm saying, okay, I now have eyes on, so now I see the person going out to the left, and I say, okay, I have eyes on, he's walking away, or maybe he's going to a neighbor's house or something.
Yeah, and if you're able to have comms in, if you're able to have these in your ear and think about it, you got law enforcement on the line or something like that, you can walk through exactly what's happening in the situation. That way, if it comes down to a he said, she said, and all this kind of action, craption, then you can go ahead and have yourself covered. That's why it matters your wordplay, what you're saying and what you're doing. You can let them know, hey man, I'm trained or I'm not trained. Or, hey man, this is what I'm doing. This is what I got going on. And you can be talking to that person, having them in your ear, just kind of that way that there's a play-by-play. And I'm not saying everybody's going to do that or everybody should do that. I'm just saying it's an option if you want to do those kind of things and you want to have that preparation, you can.
Where else? But I have the ability to kind of make a decision from there rather than just make the assumption that he left my front door, because somebody trying to go in your front door,
never assume,
and they're making a big scene, they've realized that one's blocked, they're probably going to go around.
Confirm.
Potentially go to your neighbor. So I'm able to put eyes on, I can call my neighbor, I can keep calling the police, or if they do try to flank into my house,
especially if you're in the woods, this could be dangerous.
The next breach. If there's one thing you want to take away from this video, it's this. Always have a binary decision-making process for really stressful events. Have that pre-planned in your head, because you'll never be able to pre-plan the tactics, you'll never be able to pre-plan the events that happen in your house, but one thing you can pre-plan is what to do if this or this. If somebody walks into my door, I will do this.
That readiness, baby.
If somebody doesn't, I will
hard
do
as can
this.
be.
Make it so it's easy, under stress, so that you don't make the wrong decision and you don't regret it. I'd love to hear from you in the comments section. If you do have one of these pre-plans or one of these binary decision-making plans, let me know in the comments section. And I'd love to hear from you guys, because it is one of the most important things we could do for our families, and so few of us are doing it. So let's hear from you guys at home.
All right, so a couple closing things real quick. I think that this was absolutely geared more towards a person who doesn't have training, who's a little bit new into...
It's 2 in the morning.
Who's a little bit new into these kind of things, because like obviously he wasn't talking a lot of tactile, stances or looking around the room, clearing the room or anything like that. So I think that he's just trying to help bring awareness to these types of situations and to these people, and get people kind of thinking and curious and diving deeper into the YouTubes and into education. So get some training, practice with your gun, practice with your firearm, practice with your freaking axe, practice with your freaking flashlight, whatever you got, whatever you're going to be using. Make sure that you are trained, proficient, and efficient with it. You don't want to be doing these kind of things on a whim. You want to have a plan. Like he said, you want to have a binary execution model. So I appreciate you guys being here. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you have anything for me, if I missed anything like that, if you would do anything different, what would you do? How would you act? What would you have covered if you were him or if you were me? Anything like that's welcome. Let's keep it educational, informational, and let's respect one another. Tacty out.